guys, it's Jessica VanDerMark from VanDerMark Seniors answering your questions posted yesterday on the Pear Designs Facebook fan page. I've actually already attempted to do this video once before, got all the way to the end and totally messed it up. I only have 15 minutes and there's so many great questions, and I'm a very, very long-winded person. So I'm going to do my best. I'm going to try to answer as many as I can, and I'll probably ramble and talk very, very fast. I feel like I'm speed dating. It's kind of crazy. So let's get started. Tara writes in, I would love to know how Jessica started out getting the seniors in her door. She's obviously very successful in this niche now, but did she have a strategy to make it her niche and dominate it in her area? No, I had no strategy. That's the truth. I kind of didn't even know I was going to, when I first started out in photography, I had no idea that this was going to end up being my niche or the thing that I did. The first year I spent photographing families and kids mostly. Luckily for me, I had a dear sweet senior that wouldn't take no for an answer. She actually asked me to do her senior session. I said, no, I don't do seniors. And she said, I want you to try anyway. And thank God for her. I thank God for her every day, because I quickly realized that this is what I really love to do. So that very first year that I did seniors, I did 12 seniors that year. And the very following year, I did 89. I had no strategy, but I am very honest when I do get asked this question on how did you grow your business? How do you have a successful business? How do you fill your calendar? The answer, unfortunately, is not one necessarily that you can duplicate. And because the truth of the matter is, I had a child in high school, and it was absolutely, if I look back, that is the reason why my first season went from 12 to 89. Bryce was a sophomore. The first year I decided to specialize in seniors. So because he was in high school, I was at a lot of events that seniors and their parents were a part of. I went to football games, softball games, school events, galas. He also played hockey for a city that was actually about an hour away. So I was connecting with a lot of, again, high school kids, parents, just the community, through his hockey, through his activities. And that really, the very first year, most of the seniors that I got was some way, if I really sat down and looked at it, connected to an event that I had attended or someone that I had now photographed, and they referred out. But it really ultimately started with him, and he likes to remind me of that quite often, how he really should be the one to take credit for any success that I have. But it's the truth. So I usually tease people and say, you know, if you don't have a teenager, go out and find one, adopt one. I'm sure there's a parent out there more than willing to give theirs away. So but you know, I guess I said that it can't be duplicated, and I guess it's not entirely true. It can be. You just have to figure out a way to also attend those same events. And really, at the end of the day, it's just about exposure. It's about being somehow, some way in front of teenagers, not necessarily seniors. I mean, because a lot of my seniors today were sophomores, you know, 2 years ago in my son's class that I was at those events, and they would see my face and, oh, let me go friend her on Facebook. And like, one of the things that I did, I would go to a football game and take pictures and then come home and upload those football pictures. Not to charge, not to sell, just upload. And every time I would do that, 10 to 15 kids would add me as a Facebook friend. So that really was my strategy, if there was one. Now, at this stage, there are things that I have in place to continue to grow, to continue to stay in front of people. But I wish I could take credit and say that I had this mastermind plan, but I really didn't. A lot of it was just luck and just being out in the community. Let's see. Mindy writes, oh, hi Jessica, do you have a senior rep program? If so, what do you do? Yes, I do have a senior rep program. My program is actually, it's not full of bells and whistles. This is a hot topic between photographers. There's a lot of photographers that have tried it, and they hate it, and they will tell you about it, and they will tell you that they hate it. I tried a rep program, and they didn't bring anybody to me. My reps don't care. They don't work. You know, they don't care about anything. I can't incentivize them. That's true. That's true. They're teenagers. I mean, their attention span is all of 2 seconds. And it's hard to incentivize this generation of kids because a lot of them get, just get things easily. They're a spoiled generation. So it's hard to find things that are going to make them work for it. Every year I do have one or two seniors, and they just are competitors. So they will work really hard for me. They'll send me a lot of referrals. But for the most part, my senior rep program, the reason why it never disappoints me is for me, it's not for direct referrals. For me, my senior rep program is for exposure. I will continue to do it every year because the exposure that it brings me, as far as money spent, is unmatched. I actually love that they don't send me direct referrals because I do get bookings because of my reps, and then I don't have to turn around and actually pay out the price. So it's okay with me if they don't really want to work hard and make sure people turn in their name. So my rep program is really, really simple. I get a couple of reps from all the schools. I put out a rep call. I did it just a few weeks ago. I build my rep team. I do a rep shoot in the spring so that I can have images, so that they could tag Instagram, Twitter, whatever they want to do, so that I can use on my marketing material for the following year. And then from that point on, it's really just a snowball effect. At that point, if they don't, keep up with me and send me direct referrals, I'm really okay with that. I didn't lose anything except for $100. I give them $100 off their session fee. So to me, it's just a marketing expense. It's a marketing expense, and whatever I get from it always pays for itself in the little bit that I give my reps. And if they do direct referrals, if they do send people my way, and I do have to pay out, again, still, it's like I'm trading, theoretically $10 for $1,000. I'll do that all day long. So I have a rep program. I love it. I guess my biggest thing to photographers is just manage your expectations if you decide to implement a rep program. Okay, let's see. Who is the next one? Do you do any direct mail marketing, or is it mainly word of mouth? Also, what is the single thing that made the biggest impact on your business? And this is from Melody. Ironically, I do not do direct mail, and the reason why that's ironic is my husband and I do actually have a direct mail marketing company. And I don't do direct mail because I think direct mail doesn't work. Direct mail is still a very powerful marketing tool. I personally don't do direct mail because the last 2 seasons I've been at full capacity and I've turned seniors away. Last year I did 89 seniors. This year it's going to be around 89 to 95 again. So for me, it's not an expense that I need to spend right now. But I do know of several photographers that have had very successful direct mail campaigns. So if you're not at full capacity, it's definitely something that you might want to look into, and can be very successful in getting you a couple. Right now, just if it brings you just a couple leads, because those people then snowball into referrals and so on and so forth. But for me, definitely, my senior business has mainly been word of mouth. Well, in social media. Social media should now be inserted in place of word of mouth, because that's really what it is in our world today. What's the single thing that made the biggest impact on your business? Well, aside from my son, which we've already covered, I don't think there's a single thing. That's another misconception that I think people have, and an expectation that I think is unrealistic, is there's never one single thing. There's things that might work better than others. But if you're looking for this magic tool that it's going to be my rep program, it's going to make all the difference in the world, or it's going to be this direct mail campaign, and that's what's going to bring in all the business, that's why people become disappointed. With the marketing background, I guess, again, that's why my expectations are managed, in that a successful marketing campaign is one that involves all of these things. It's a layered campaign of many, many efforts of reaching out to your target market. So that might be having a Facebook page and Twitter and Instagram. That's one thing. A senior rep program is another thing. Maybe a direct mail program, another thing. When you have all of these things out there and you're doing them consistently, they all will each bring in, maybe the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram brings you 25 seniors. Maybe your direct mail brings you 3. An event you do at school brings you 3. it's a combination of all of these efforts that ultimately will grow a successful business. It's never one. It's never one single thing. Like I said, there are things that are more impactful than others. Social media, no question, but never one thing. The other thing I would also say is, and I think a lot of people overlook it, is the experience you're giving your senior. And when I say experience, I'm not talking about the bells and whistles. I'm not talking about the goodie bags and making it this big, grand, fabulous session, which is important. I'm really talking about the connection that you make with your senior, because they talk. They talk and they share. And I cannot tell you how many times I get a senior to show up on a session and they say, oh yeah, Katie said that you really read personalities very well, and you weren't going to make me do something that was not really, I wasn't comfortable with. And, Mike said his mom dragged him there, and he really didn't want to go, but you were kind of goofy, and you made it fun, and at the end of it, he was like kind of glad that his mom had signed him up. I can't tell you, almost every single time I shoot a senior, somewhere in that conversation, they mention that they've talked to a previous senior. So they don't just go home and wait for the images and say nothing. I mean, they go home and they share and they talk. And I guarantee you, if they didn't have a good time, they'll talk about that too. And I do think that that is a huge part that's kind of hard to measure. It's not something that is easy to say, oh, definitely, I gave them a good time and I got 30 seniors because I gave them a good time. It's hard to measure, but be on your A game always and make it about them and not about you, and give them a session that becomes part of their senior experience, and they will talk about it and people will come. Let's see. What's your favorite technique in connecting with your seniors during your sessions? Do you coach them at all? My favorite technique is I love, love, love when they get hair and makeup, and that's because I go to my makeup artist studio and meet them there, and the whole time they're getting their makeup done, we spend that hour as girl time. They get to know my makeup artist. By the time it's over, we're BFFs. We've chatted, we've giggled, we've connected. We get to the session and we're old friends, and I'm just photographing them. It gets all the nerves out. I definitely know their personality at that point. We've spoken for an hour. That's my favorite. Of course, that's not always realistic. I have boys who get no hair and makeup, and I don't require hair and makeup. So I do have some seniors that show up on their session, and I haven't had that opportunity to have that hour with them. And I can't do a lot of in-person pre-consults. I do have seniors from 4 different markets, and a good majority of them travel. So they're driving 2 hours to me. So the logistics of meeting them in person prior to their session when they're 2 hours away is just not necessarily manageable. So when I'm in a situation where we're at the session, I haven't met with them, I don't start the session right away. We spend about 10 or 15 minutes chatting, looking through the outfits, making small talk, and finding connections. Ask them questions. When you ask them questions, you will get answers, and more often than not, it will be something that you can relate to. And people like people that are relatable to them. So just figure out a way to become their friend or cool older sister or cool mom. And that's just a very good way to connect throughout the session. And throughout the session, continue to talk. Continue to chat. My sessions always run over 2 hours, and it's because I can't stop talking. But they always say how much more comfortable it made them and how much fun they had. So yeah, I mean, just have fun with it and get to know them. I'm sorry, I'm trying to read questions while I'm trying to wrap that one up. And no one out there better laugh at me because you have no idea how hard this is. How many images do you edit for the client to proof? That depends on the type of session. I do an all-day New Orleans session, and that's all day. That's morning to night. They might have 8 to 12 outfits. Those seniors are going to see 100 to 150 edits. But it's almost like having 2 sessions. For a regular senior that did a 2-hour session, or 2.5 to 3 if I'm talking, that just really depends on their outfit choices. But they will not see less than 35 because I want to try to sell them an album. But they usually typically will see between 40 to 55. Very rarely will they see over 55. I think too many options overwhelms people. I think too many options doesn't showcase your best work either. If you're going to show them 70 images, I can probably go through that gallery and easily pull 20 to 25 that are not, they're not bad, but they're not wow. And you really want to bring the best to them. And you don't want to water down the best with all the mediocre. So really think about it and really pull the best of the best. Try to give them 35 if you want to sell albums, or digital collections. It's hard to justify a $2,000 digital sale if you only have 15 images on there. Okay, so let's see. How do you coach the boys to pose? I love boys. I love the boys, and to me, they're very easy. Um, the thing that you have to do with boys, if you're going to coach them how to pose, is before you even get started, you definitely have to put them at ease. And the easiest way to do that, honestly, is to be a goofball. See, there goes my timer. It's already up. Okay, I'm going to finish this question, and I'm going to try to answer one more, and Holly will have to forgive me for going over a minute or two. Boys are fabulous. I think that this is the issue with photographers. They're afraid of boys. They think boys are boring. They're not really putting the effort into the boy session like they do with the girls. So a little bit of effort goes a long way. I consult with the boys just like I do with the girls. I tell them, do not show up with only 2 shirts. Do not show up with 3 polo shirts, all different colors. I get bossy with the boys, but it pays off at the end. I tell the mom, I don't care if he doesn't want to dress up. Just one dressy outfit. That's all he's got to do. Guess what? They listen. They listen. They show up with a nice homecoming type suit. They show up with a casual shoot. They show up with 3 or 4 options when you make it a priority to educate them. And then when they show up, I've already studied. I've studied GQ. I buy just as many men's magazine as I do women's. On my iPhone, I have just as many go-to poses. Some of them are my own, because you can get in a rut or forget, or maybe you have a really shy boy who makes it difficult to just keep going with the flow. I honestly blame the photographers. I think that because boys are not stereotypically as excited to be there, it's an easy cop-out, and people just say, oh, they don't want to be here, oh, they're boring, I hate to shoot boys, I'm not going to shoot boys. FYI, moms spend a ton of money on their boys. I have 2 boys. I do have a girl also, but my boys they love their mom like fiercely, and they do. So it's a market that's worth, really putting some effort in, because the profits can definitely pay off. Let's see. Oh my God, I feel like I only answered 2 questions. How many clients do you shoot a month? Okay, I'll answer that one. That came from Julie. And then there's one more question I do have to answer, and it won't take long. I shoot typically 8 to 12 seniors a month, only in the months of from October to February. October to February, 8 to 12. In March, I allow myself insanity, and I do shoot between 25 and 35. I only do that in March. My family knows ahead of time. It's like the accountant's tax season, so they're going to have to cook dinner. They're going to have to clean. My husband last weekend cleaned the house for me, bless his heart. It's a lot of insanity, but everybody kind of waits till spring, here in the South at least, to do their senior sessions, and I don't need to do this for an income. But I always feel like I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And can I raise my family on this income? And I treat my business as though I have to raise 3 kids on this income. So to shoot 35 seniors in the month of March is very profitable. So anyway, 8 to 12 from October to February, 25 to 35 in March, back down to about 8 to 12 in April, and then that's it for me. May to September, I don't really shoot any seniors unless it's my reps or concept shoots. That doesn't work for everybody, by the way. I know that some people cannot fathom doing 25 to 35 in a month. I work better under pressure. The last question is from my dear friend Kelly at Kelly Ann Style, and she says, I would like to know if she will marry me. Well, Kelly, I did not know that there was a proposal on the table, but if there was a woman out there that I would marry, it would most certainly be you. And you're hilarious. I love you so much, Kelly. I feel horrible because there's so many questions I did not get to. Maybe Holly will let me do a video too. I don't know. Go on the page and ask her. I'd be more than happy to come back and video one more segment and try to get to the questions that I didn't get to. But thank you so much, everyone, for writing in.